What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and if you're enjoying the content here on my channel, then make sure you hit the like button and make sure you hit subscribe so you can help decide what direction the content on my channel goes in the foreseeable future. Alright, so we're finally here, and a lot of you guys got mad at me at the end of the last video. How dare you leave us on a cliffhanger like that, Rob? What is your problem? Well, you know what? Cliffhangers are how I get you to come back. So how about them apples? Take that. I am officially on the tail end of this flu. Thank God, because I gotta tell you, this thing was killing me. By the way, Happy New Year, guys. I really hope you guys had a safe and Happy New Year. There's a lot of crazies this time of year, so hopefully you guys are staying safe and everything. But what this does is this brings us the much-awaited conflict of Skaar, son of Hulk, versus Worldbreaker Hulk. Not only that, we also get to see the Red Hulk fighting Worldbreaker Hulk. And needless to say, the fight probably goes exactly the way you would expect it to, but there's a really cool caveat to this. So, as we know, Jeff Loeb and Greg Pak have been drawing a lot on the whole Bill Mantlo, Peter David run of the Incredible Hulk, where it was the introduction of his abusive father, where, you know, how that abuse basically manifested in the form of the Incredible Hulk as a second persona when Bruce Banner was blasted with gamma radiation, and it really just sort of set the stage for everything that came after with regards to his character's development. And you know, a lot of those themes were kind of lost over the years, but it was really cool to see those ideas more or less brought back in the form of this particular run of Hulk and the Incredible Hulks. Now, what this also does is it gives us some behind the scenes stuff in the sense that Bruce Banner, before absorbing all this gamma radiation and returning the X-Men, Avengers, Deadpool, returning all those guys to their normal forms, had recorded a video diary of sorts. And what he basically said was, he'd basically been spending the last few months or so manipulating all the different superheroes of the world for the purpose of consolidating all these gamma irradiated beings into one place, basically tricking the intelligentsia. And the idea was that if he was successful, the intelligentsia would effectively be defeated. But there was also a very high chance that in the process, the Incredible Hulk would return. The issue with this is that if the Incredible Hulk came back, it wouldn't just be a Incredible Hulk. It wouldn't just be a green Hulk running around. It would literally be all the gamma radiation that was absorbed from the Incredible Hulk the last time he was the Hulk channeled back into Banner again, which means it would be the return of Worldbreaker Hulk. All that anger, all that rage channeled right back into Bruce Banner, and it would basically be him picking up where he left off from. And what he says is, if that happens, if the Incredible Hulk comes back, the only thing you can do is run. You cannot defeat him. You cannot fight him. What they need to do is they need to clear out civilians, and they need to make a path for the Hulk's son to face up against him, since he's the only one that has the hatred to actually have a chance of pulling it off. The problem here is that he has no chance of pulling it off. It's hilarious to watch this happen, because to me, it was always like in the back of my mind, I kind of figured this was going to happen. Yes, it would be cool to see Skaar, son of Hulk, going against Worldbreaker Hulk. It always would have been cool to see, but in the back of my head, I was always like, but there's no way he would stand a legitimate chance, right? I mean, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, it's the strongest version of the Incredible Hulk in history against a guy who could control the tectonic plates of the planet, but doesn't have unlimited strength. I mean, Worldbreaker Hulk could break the planet in half. It doesn't really say a whole lot for Skaar. So the result here is that, again, the conflict that they're having, the fight that they're engaging in, is shaking the earth at its very core. Not only that, because of the fact that Skaar seems to be absorbing the tectonic energies of the earth, basically absorbing the energy that the Incredible Hulk is putting off whenever it is that he's stepping on the ground or stomping on the ground, because remember, with each step that he takes, it shakes parts of the planet. To the Avengers, to all these different superheroes, it looks like Skaar is the one that's trying to break the planet apart, when in reality, all Skaar's doing is absorbing as much energy as he can, so that when his father charges at him, he literally punches Worldbreaker Hulk with the force of the planet Earth. And what this means is that Earth is not enough, because Worldbreaker Hulk immediately recovers and pummels the hell out of Skaar. And this was so cool, because it's like I'd been waiting for this, you know, like I'd been asking this the entire time. Who would win in a fight? Skaar, son of Hulk versus Worldbreaker Hulk? And Worldbreaker Hulk just taunts him. He's like, look, I could crush you easily, but I'm not here to fight you. I could take you out and it'd be no questions asked. I could kill you right now if I wanted to. Now, Skaar tries to goad his father into fighting. He says, look, Kyra always said that you were good, always said that you were strong, but in the eyes of Skaar, the Incredible Hulk is weak. Now, remember, Hulk does not know about Skaar's time on Skaar. He doesn't know that Kyra the Old Strong, her spirit lived on as part of Skaar because she was one of the Old Strong, because she literally had the power to control the planet itself. She was part and parcel to it. He basically learns this through Skaar in the form of taunts. When Hulk says, no, Kyra's dead, there's no way you could have talked to her, and Skaar says, no, she lived through the planet Skaar. She lived through the rocks itself. She was alive, at least she was, until I fed the planet to Galactus. Wrong answer. The Hulk freaks, like he absolutely loses his mind. And again, he starts like lashing out at Skaar. And this is where the Peter David, this is beautifully done. This is where the Peter David and Bill Mantlo stuff begins to come into play here. What we've always assumed as the reader is that when the Hulk is saying, just leave me alone, why don't you leave me alone, that he's always talking about the people that he's facing off against. This is why I say some of these elements were lost. Under the Peter David run, it was really started in Bill Mantlo, but under the Peter David run, the Incredible Hulk's father, Bruce Banner's abusive father, was always resonating in the back of his mind. That was one of the reasons why the Incredible Hulk became a horseman of Apocalypse, because Apocalypse went to him and said, look, I will remove the essence of your father taunting you in your mind if you'll agree to become my horseman. And Hulk was like, deal, so he became a horseman of Apocalypse. Of course, after the effects wore off, and after he was returned to his normal form, his father's spirit came back, but his father was constantly taunting him all the time, constantly making fun of him, constantly being mentally abusive to him. And so that's what Hulk was lashing out at the entire time, was always, leave me alone. He was always, lashing out at his father. Whenever he saw people attacking him, he saw his father attacking him. And so that's really what Skaar picks up on here, because when Worldbreaker Hulk turns the table on Skaar, Skaar does not see it coming, and Hulk punches him into the atmosphere, brings it back down to Earth again, and just starts beating the absolute tar out of him. Skaar begins to come to the realization that no one else knows about this. No one else is aware of the fact that when the Incredible Hulk is saying, leave me alone, that he's talking to his father, he's not talking to the people that he's fighting against. And so this is why Skaar says, look, no one knows you. No one really understands what it is that you're about. No one really grasps what it is that's going on inside of that head of yours. They don't really understand you the way that I understand you. And so because of this, this is really the Incredible Hulk coming to the realization that with each hit that he makes on Skaar, with each attack that he makes on his son, he is his father. He's playing out the role of his father. He's abusing the hell out of his son, just like his father abused the hell out of him. Now, the circumstances are a bit different here though, and this is why I'm not 100% on board with what it is that Jeff Loeb and Greg Pak were doing here. The theme I understand, the overall ideology I can get behind, but the father of Bruce Banner was just a horrible human being. I mean, he was just a cruel person who beat his son at every turn because he could, not because he had to. In this situation, Skaar's challenging his father. Like, he literally ran up on him and just started beating the crap out of him first. He has an inherent desire to kill his father, patricide. And so because of that, it's a totally different scenario here. But even in that realm, even in that logic, the Incredible Hulk says, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep beating on my son. And so he effectively just backs off. And what this does is this sort of allows Banner to kind of end this cycle of violence, so to speak, and to go towards his own son and to basically say, you are my son. You are my progeny, my offspring. Even if I didn't want to accept it before, I have to accept it now. And so what this does is just kind of create a reconciling between the two. It's essentially just the fact that the Incredible Hulk realizes and recognizes that Skaar is his son, which is extremely important because once we get into Hero Kala, we're going to realize that Hulk needs all the allies he can get. So switching over to Red Hulk, because for those of you guys who don't know, Hero Kala is like the second son of Bruce Banner, and that dude is a dick. Like, he's awesome, but he's he's rough. All right, so when it comes to Red Hulk, we had essentially just ended last time with what seemed to be taking over the White House, ripping the head off the life model decoy of General Talbot, revealing to the world that he was actually a machine. But in light of all this, we have basically Worldbreaker Hulk show up here. Now, we don't really get a connection here. I mean, Greg Pak and Jeff Loeb don't really mend the rift between how we got from point A to point B. It's really just that we're here now. But at the very least, it just kind of allows us to see the two of these guys fighting against one another. But keep in mind, if Skaar didn't stand much of a chance against Worldbreaker Hulk, General Thunderbolt Ross doesn't stand any chance at all. But again, this is really just kind of going through and providing some reconciliation on all these different plot threads. Because remember, for the longest time, the idea was that General Thunderbolt Ross had just turned on the intelligentsia after becoming Red Hulk. He started executing his own agenda, but there really didn't seem to be a common theme between General Thunderbolt Ross as Red Hulk and Bruce Banner as the Incredible Hulk, aside from Betty Ross herself. And that's still the idea here. It's still the one thing that the two of them share, but it's also this reconciliation that they effectively need each other. But then we're also going to learn that Banner has a much bigger plan here. For Ross, again, it's the idea of just stopping the Incredible Hulk. In his mind right now, he has the power to do that. It's his overriding goal. It's like the Terminator franchise. Every Terminator, regardless of what they're programmed to do, has a singular program, an overriding program in the back of their mind: kill John Connor on sight. They'll stop whatever it is they're doing if they see John Connor, and they'll immediately go after and they'll kill him. It's an ongoing thing. With Red Hulk, it's exactly the same way. He's got his own agendas, he's got his own motivations. He worked alongside Bruce Banner, although he hated Banner, but as soon as the Incredible Hulk shows up, everything else gets cast aside and it's time to fight the Incredible Hulk and kill him. Now, the kicker about this is, again, Red Hulk gets very, very haughty and very, very arrogant here. I mean, his hubris is off the scales. And the reason why is because because of the fact that he considers himself so powerful in terms of his strategy, in terms of his body heat, in terms of the energy he puts off, his ability to absorb gamma energy, the fact that he sits down and says, I was able to defeat the Incredible Hulk before, I can defeat you again. The difference is that even after letting off what amounts to a nuclear explosion, it doesn't make any difference because this is not the Incredible Hulk that Red Hulk fought before. This is Worldbreaker Hulk, which means that he's got to be on his A game, and he's not, because Worldbreaker Hulk immediately turns the tables on him and basically just beats the living tar out of him to the point he literally claps his hands and sends him flying into Washington, D.C., into the Lincoln Monument. Now, when they get there, this is when we learn the ulterior motive of Bruce Banner, and this is actually where we learn what it is that Jeff Loeb and Greg Pak wanted to do from here, because by having General Thunderbolt Ross become the Red Hulk, there was no going back. I mean, you can't go back to him being General Thunderbolt Ross because nobody would care anymore. I wouldn't care about reading stories with General Thunderbolt Ross. I care about reading stories that have Red Hulk in it, because he was such a compelling character and it was so cool to read. And so what happened is Hulk, again, because this is Worldbreaker Hulk, because he has all the rationale, the intelligence, and the memories of Bruce Banner, basically what he says here is the entire idea was to work all sides. It was to basically destroy all of his enemies or defeat all of his enemies with one fell swoop. The idea was to basically say, okay, let's take out the intelligentsia by turning their devices against them, by irradiating the world's superheroes, forcing the intelligentsia's hand, allowing Bruce Banner to be captured only so we could turn around and be freed, using the powers of Dr. Doom and so on to liberate all the other superheroes. The other idea was to basically have Red Hulk kill General Thunderbolt Ross, because to the eyes of the world, General Thunderbolt Ross is dead, which means if Red Hulk were to go back into General Thunderbolt Ross form, it would result in his arrest because of some of the shady things that General Thunderbolt Ross had did, most notably treason. And so because of this, Ross is stuck in his Red Hulk form. He can never go back to being General Thunderbolt Ross, or at least not in the immediate future. He can't go back to being General Thunderbolt Ross. There will be a couple times here and there when he will change back to his normal human form, but for the most part, he's just going to stay in his Red Hulk form. But that's basically the curse. He says, look, this is how things are going to be. Your life is going to be like my life now. All you have now is your Red Hulk form, nothing else. Everything that you love, everything that you care about is gone. Betty Ross hates you. She's alive, but she hates you. You have the world's superheroes who know or who find out that if you are General Thunderbolt Ross, they'll have you arrested, or you'll literally spend the rest of your life in a prison cell. It's basically saying, like, this is your life now. You can never be General Thunderbolt Ross again. And so because of this, he ends up actually taking him to the Gamma base anyway and throwing him in a prison cell. Now, he's put there for an unspecified amount of time. We don't know exactly how long it is that he's there for. All we know is that we basically have the Incredible Hulk and we have just Steve Rogers at this point. It's not really Captain America, since Bucky Barnes is still Captain America. But Steve Rogers and the Incredible Hulk ended up going down to this cell where Red Hulk's being held, and they're essentially asking for his help. Now, we don't know what his help is being asked for yet. Well, I mean, at least within the confines of the story, we didn't know. But at this moment right now, they're actually going to recruit Red Hulk for some rather secret missions, some unsavory missions. But what this does is this basically wraps up World War Hulks. This brings it into that World War Hulk storyline, and what this actually did is it allowed for kind of this relaunch, so to speak, of the Incredible Hulk line of stories and the Red Hulk line of stories, and it allowed Marvel to basically go forward doing whatever it is they wanted to do with this character. It basically kind of set the stage for future stories for them to just kind of experiment and see what it is they wanted to do. But in any event, if you guys are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and yeah, I will catch you all later. Peace.